Thank you, Linda. We started out by trying to find out what matters. We put together campus scorecards that included measures to improve completion as discussed in the literature. So we really looked at the literature to decide on what made a difference. What we found is that we looked at our first-time cohort, and what we found is that the most important features were first-time freshmen with 6 or more credits at entry. So we found that it made a big difference if they came in with at least some credits. We also found that credit accumulation was very important. So freshmen completing at least 30 credits within their first academic year. And third, students completing college-level English and math within their first academic year. And finally, freshmen with a declared major by the start of their second year. For each of these measures, what we did is we looked at the data, and what we showed is that these measures made a difference. So the top part of this slide shows you the share of all of the students taking 15 credit, or taking the different level of credits for this 2007 cohort. This is just for Manoa, but we did it for all of our campuses. The bottom part of this slide compares four-year graduation rates for freshmen completing less than 24 credits, 24 or more credits, and 30 or more credits. What you can see is that 32% of students with more than 30 credits after their first academic year graduated in 4 years, as compared to the 17.8% overall graduation rate in 4 years. So it was a very large difference in graduation rates for those that took more credits. The next thing we did is assess our current situations. We looked at, we wanted to show that, we already showed that 30 credits made a difference, and we wanted to find out where we were. We found that the majority of first-time freshmen, even at our 2-year campuses, took 12 to 14 credits. And a sizable proportion of freshmen at our flagship did take 15 credits. It was much lower at the other campuses, but overall we thought it was lower than it could be. This is Manoa, the distribution of credits at our flagship campus for the fall semesters 2009, 10, and 11 combined. As Linda mentioned earlier, very few of our students at our 4 years take less than 12 credits. But 61% of Manoa first-time freshmen took 12 to 14 credits, and 37% took 15 or more. It was very similar at our Hilo campus, our smaller Hilo campus, with 60.5% of students taking 12 to 14 credits. But a little different at our smallest west and newest West Oahu campus, which just started taking in lower division students. We had more students there taking less than 12 credits at nearly 8%, and a very large share, 78% of students taking 12 to 14 credits, and only 14.5% taking 15 credits. We were a little surprised at this chart, which showed that even at our community colleges, where we had many more students taking less than 12 credits, but 54% of first-time freshmen took 12 to 14 credits. And that was really surprising to us, because everyone says, oh, our freshmen, our students at the community colleges, they all are part-time, and so we can't, that 15 to finish doesn't apply to them. But a full 54% took 12 to 14 credits. And we knew that we really couldn't focus on the students at this lower end that taking 3 credits, 6 credits. We really had to focus on the students that were taking already 12 to 14 credits. We just had to encourage them to take one more class. Then we decided we needed to use the data to make a case for change. We had to show that the better success of those who took 15 credits wasn't because it's smarter students only that took 15 credits. So we analyzed the differences between first-time freshmen taking less than 15 and then those taking more than 15 credits. We looked at them by academic preparation, academic success, and demographics. We had to examine the prevailing notion that the success of those who took 15 credits was only due to higher level of academic preparation. We had to prove that everyone could do it. To do this, we created an academic preparation score of 1 to 5, 1 to 4, with 4 being the highest. And we used various measures to come up with this score. For our 4 years, we used SAT, ACT, GPA, and a few other measures into a combined metric. For our 2 years, which do not require GPAs or SATs or high school transcripts, we use compass scores, which almost every student is required to take. For academic success, we also use a variety of measures, which are listed here, and we looked at the success of those that took 15 versus those 15 or more versus those that took less than 15. We also looked at our two groups, our underrepresented minority and our Pell students. I should point out for Hawaii, we're a little different. Our underrepresented minorities include Native Hawaiians, other Pacific Islanders, and Filipinos. And what we did find is that our URM and Pell students had a slightly lower share for taking 15 or more credits, but it was statistically insignificant, except for Manoa. For our URM and Pell recipients, we also found that they are slightly more likely to have lower levels of academic preparation and lower levels of academic success. We found that students who took 15 credits, as expected, were indeed more prepared, and they did have better academic success. But more importantly, we found for every measure of academic success, for that same level of academic preparation, students who took 15 or more credits generally had more academic success. And so it was for every single measure that we found this. This held for all but the lowest levels of academic preparation. And we found that this held for our Pell and URM students as well. This slide shows you the data for our flagship Manoa campus. The bars are the percent of first-time freshmen by academic preparation score that had an average first-time GPA of B or better. And to ensure a large enough sample size, we used first-time freshmen in fall 2009, 10, and 11. Remember that 4 is the highest level of academic preparation. You can see very clearly that at all levels, it is clear that those with the highest level of academic preparation do better. They have a higher percentage having B or better. And the yellow bars here are freshmen who took 15 or more credits in their first semester, and the blue bars are those that took less. You can see that for every level of academic preparation, students who took 15 or more credits did better. The same holds true for our small Hilo campus, with the yellow bars higher at all but the very lowest levels of academic preparation. This is for our West Oahu campus. You could see that the data is a little jumpier. It's not as, you don't have that nice line going down. Much smaller campus, our sample size was 337. So when you split it down to these academic levels, you have some very small, much smaller numbers, but you still see a pretty consistent trend. And it held true at our 2 years as well, that those who took 15 or more credits did better at nearly all levels of academic preparation.